The whole basis for the Ag Siting Ag Ventures Camp is the whole farm-to-table concept. So that way all the young students understand where all their food comes from. So we have all kinds of activities packed for the week, from making butter to doing farm visits to a segment called Here, There, and Everywhere, learning about Michigan agriculture and what all Michigan has to offer. We do one group of 6 to 8-year-olds, and that's more of the basic knowledge. And then with the 9 to 11-year-olds, that's a little bit more advanced, where we do just a little notch higher, because a lot of the students in the camps live in the city and don't have that experience, so we give them that hands-on experience. With the 9 to 11-year-olds, we talk to them about different kinds of herbs that they can use when they're cooking. So they got to pick 3 different kinds, so that way they understand in their pizza sauce and their spaghetti sauce, well, this is the actual plant that this comes from.
We replanted them and put them in a different pot because the roots were coming out of the bottom and it wasn't big enough. It was about to die. You had to squeeze it, turn it around and start squeezing it. Then you had to take it and pull it up. And we had to put all 3 of them in one pot.
Well, in the camps, we work together either individually or with a partner or on a team. So that way they get used to having to work with each other and, continuing to learn that we need to share and take turns. We do have some hands-on activities, kind of just keep the whole, brain power going, keep their motor skills going. And we also do some reading. We take turns, going around the room and, reading certain segments of everything that we're on. Then we also get a chance, I have an awesome bone wrap video where we learn about calcium, how it's important for your bones. So I also have that because it's almost like the physical education part. So they're still getting, physical activity and learning that drinking calcium and having physical activity is very important for your bones. For the making butter segment, which I tie in with the dairy farming segment, we actually just take a small mason jar and some heavy whipping cream, and then we have it rise to room temperature, and they take turns. We have the lid on really tight. They shake it really hard, vigorously for like 30 seconds, and they pass it to their neighbor, and we keep going around the table like that for 5 to 10 minutes. And then when it becomes one big solid chunk in the jar, then we actually pour it into a colander to strain the liquid, which is also known as the whey. Then we just rinse it with some cold water, and then we put a little pinch of salt in there, mix it up, and just let it chill in the refrigerator for a little bit, and then we put it on a cracker and let them try their own homemade butter. This year was new doing it during Fair Week, so that way we could take them to all the different barns. They get a chance to pet and ask the students questions on, how much that animal weighs, what they eat, what they're going to do with their animal when it's done. This year we went to Calder Dairy over in Carlton.
We got ice cream. We went on a tractor ride.
And they were able to feed all kinds of animals that were there.
Got to feed the goats. I got slobber all over my hands.
But the biggest thing is for them to see where the animals live and how you milk a cow by hand. And then they actually got to be in the milking parlor to see how they get hooked up and get milked. And then they got to see the pipes as to where it goes into the tank as to how it gets to your grocery store, which then ends up in a glass of milk on your kitchen table. Making a farm charm, which is the whole concept of why soil and sun and water and everything is important for plants and animals and humans. We cover a segment on careers in agriculture where they get to dress up as 4 different careers, although that's just the icing on the cake because there's actually over 300 careers in agriculture. They get to do the Michigan Agriculture Here, There, and Everywhere segment where they get to learn about different commodities around the entire state, from you know, the lower peninsula and the southwest corner all the way to the tip of the UP. In both camps, we actually did an introduction to plant science and animal science so they could understand and tie that into the whole concept. We will have 9 billion people to feed by the year 2050. So that's why it is very important that we are incorporating a lot of practices in farming and agriculture. And another reason why I want young people to understand where their food is coming from. It doesn't come just from the grocery stores. Without farmers, we would not exist. We wouldn't have the crops, we wouldn't have the animals to feed all of us. We don't just go to the grocery store because the grocery store buys it from the farmers. So if there was no farmers, the grocery stores wouldn't have any food for us to buy.